The mirage of maximum victory, why a punctuated freeze is the only way out of the Hormuz deadlock. July 22, 2026. As diplomatic channels flicker back to life across regional capitals, the airwaves remain thick with maximalist rhetoric. Tehran continues to posture over its sovereign right to police Persian Gulf traffic, while Washington promises uncompromising force to keep the world's most vital maritime artery clear. Yet behind the theater of military escort operations, missile exchanges, and economic sanctions lies a quiet mathematical reality. Neither side can afford the alternatives. When evaluating the trajectory of the current crisis, three paths lie before the international community. There is the path of a permanent attritional grind, option B, a multi-year low-intensity conflict of drone swarms, soaring war risk insurance premiums, and constant economic volatility. There is the way of total war, option C, a catastrophic campaign targeting Iran's core infrastructure, triggering a total blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and a global energy meltdown. And then there is option A, the punctuated freeze, Memorandum of Understanding 2.0. Despite the posturing, the math strongly indicates that scenario A isn't just one option, but carries roughly a 65% probability of becoming reality over the coming weeks. It represents the only intersection where the core survival mandates of Washington, Tehran, and the global markets overlap. The logic of the freeze. How does this play out on the ground? The immediate catalyst will likely be the acceptance of a brief, structured ceasefire, a 10 to 14 day window, possibly even the very plan being put forth at present by Iran, with additional concessions being demanded by the U.S., designed to halt active military strikes and pause port blockades. To understand why this scenario dominates the probability calculus, one must look at the immediate incentives driving the primary actors. The American political imperative. For President Trump, an unyielding naval blockade and endless kinetic exchanges risk triggering severe global energy shocks and domestic inflation spikes. A hard-nosed transactional agreement fulfills the administration's core political requirement, declaring a decisive high-profile deal won through leverage while stabilizing international markets. Furthermore, forcing Tehran to back away from explicit claims of transit tolls or sovereign control over the strait restores the status quo of international navigation without committing the U.S. to a multi-year regional occupation. The Iranian regime's survival calculus. For Tehran, the primary objective is regime continuity and economic stabilization under heavy domestic and external pressure. While the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps uses maritime friction to project power, prolonged direct conflict against American air power damages essential domestic infrastructure beyond repair. A structured Memorandum of Understanding 2.0 allows Tehran to claim a victory of resistance, securing targeted sanctions relief or the unfreezing of restricted foreign assets for humanitarian food and medicine imports, while stepping back from the brink of total economic collapse. Global market pressures. Neither Asian energy importers nor Gulf Arab states can tolerate an indefinite 15 to 20% energy risk premium. The insertion of a neutral third-party maritime monitoring framework, potentially featuring GCC, Pakistani, or Asian maritime observers to monitor transit routes, provides the exact neutral buffer needed to lower shipping insurance rates and restore regular commercial traffic. A potential structure core of Memorandum of Understanding 2.0. Maritime terms. Tehran drops demands for transit fees or sovereign checkpoints in international channels, accepting third-party observation. Economic terms. Washington grants conditional asset unfreezing and targeted relief specifically tied to humanitarian imports. Security terms. U.S. forces pause targeted strikes on coastal defense nodes in exchange for an immediate cessation of proxy drone and missile attacks on commercial shipping. A frozen peace, not a warm harmony. It is critical, however, to manage expectations regarding what a punctuated freeze actually accomplishes. This is not a transformative generational peace treaty. It will not suddenly resolve underlying regional rivalries, proxy networks, or deep strategic distrust. Instead, it is an engineered pause, a mechanism to stop the immediate bleeding and prevent a regional firestorm that neither side wants to fight. Yet, in international diplomacy, an engineered pause is often the only foundation available. If the Trump administration wants a broader regional peace framework or formal security agreement to be signed anytime within the next several months, a goal the administration was working toward prior to the present hostilities, it will not emerge from the ashes of total war or the noise of an endless attrition grind. It will happen because both sides recognize that an imperfect, punctuated freeze is vastly superior to the alternative. The only question remaining is how many days of brinkmanship it will take for both sides to sign on the dotted line, because in the end, the math favors the freeze.